let's look at the head and arm choke, Got it individually. So in the north-south choke, he wanted to turn to look at me and eventually get to his knees. On the head and arm choke, he wants to turn onto the side. That makes sense. That takes the bite away from the head and arm, and that sets up the Ezekiel. So head and arm choke, arm triangle to Ezekiel, they both work really well together. Probably I would go from the hybrid knee-on belly, because I want Sean framing in my throat on this situation. So say I have my grips and we were playing this hybrid knee-on belly. Again, if he's pushing on my knee, I'm probably going to go for something else, but a lot of the time, especially when you're low like this and I'm really trying to just don't put your frame in yet. So if I start putting cross-face pressure on him, he will start to push to relieve that pressure. So once we're there, I get the bite. That's all I want, the underhook here. And I'll start to walk his arm forward slightly, and then I can drop my head behind it. From there, the windshield wiper to the other side. I can get hand to hand. I want to keep Sean flat on his back. Okay? So again, I've made connection. I start to turn the corner. But as I start to do that, Sean's going to turn away from me. Alright? And notice the way now a massive space has appeared here. For me to try and muscle this, it would be very difficult. I could maybe try and sag and bring him back down again, and then he's going to try and turn into it again. Okay, you've got a lot of people that they'll maybe frame and try to make as much space. He wants to make as much space between his left jugular and his left shoulder. So from there, my left hand will find my right sleeve. I'm going to now put my elbow on the mat, and I'm bringing my forearm across the back of his neck. I'm not coming across the jugular. I know some people teach it that way, but I feel you're just muscling it. Alright? I want to make a frame at the back of his neck. And now from here, I'm going to push his left shoulder into his left jugular by chair sitting. So I'm going to slide my knee up. My shin comes up and goes beside his left hip. And then I'll just bring my elbow underneath, and now my shoulder is pushing his shoulder. The reason my shin is against his back, so he can't go flat on the back, and I still have it. Whereas if I'm here, and Sean puts his body back on the mat again, I've lost the Ezekiel, and I would have to go back to the head and arm again. So, anytime you want to defend the head and arm choke, you want to turn onto your side. Obviously, you're not going to stay there. You'll be trying to get a limb inside and trying to escape. Anytime you want to defend the Ezekiel, you're on your side. You want to get flat on your back. So when you switch to the Ezekiel, we don't want him going flat on his back again. So from our hybrid knee-on belly position, we were here. I'm looking for that frame. So again, from that position, I'll get the crook of my arm. My arm comes off the far leg. I'll start to put pressure. I'll look away, start to walk this up a little bit, and then I'll drop my head down behind it. When I taught this, I was showing you guys to try and, get used to doing it with one hand and focus on connection. I want my left bicep tight till his right jugular. But obviously, when we go to do it for real, we will stay hand to hand. And now from there, I start to bring my head towards the mat. I don't want to get caught in half guard, so you just windshield wiper. Already Sean knows, and he's starting to defend. He's turned onto the side. Options to take the back here as well. So from there, left hand grabs the sleeve. I make the frame. So that goes across the back of his neck. It doesn't go across the jugular. What blocks off the jugular is my shoulder. Okay? Notice the way there's still space here. Watch when I chair sit. I slide my knee up behind the back of his head. I bring my shin into place to keep him on the side. And now my left shoulder pushes Sean's left shoulder into the jugular. Now what's restricting me is my right elbow. as I lean in, it's actually restricting me. So the other little detail I do is I take that elbow away. And now gravity's choking him out. Watch, I just fall towards the mat. And you'll not need to go the whole way. So look at that again. So your Kesikatami, your arm triangle, head and arm choke into the Ezekiel. So from our hybrid knee on belly position, he starts to frame. I can let go of this. I'll put pressure on it, so I'll look away so it's not leaning into my throat. Start to walk the hand up a little bit, and then I'll keep my hand as a wedge, and then I'll just drop my head behind. Really focus. Another thing I want to be thinking about is I don't leave my head here, because then he can just bring his arm back round again. So the second I get my head there going to the mat, really walk your hand forward so you have connection with your left bicep against his right jugular. And as I start to windshield wiper, when I go to finish, I will go hand to hand. But his reaction is to turn onto the side. When he turns onto the side, I want to keep him on his side. So I make the grip, this comes up, I cherish it, I put my hip on the mat. But now, if I don't fill that space at his left hip, he can just go flat onto his back, and I have to go back to Kesikatami. And we don't want to be getting caught in Groundhog Day. So as he turns away from me to defend, and we're there, I cherish it. Yeah. Once I'm in that position, keep my elbow away, gravity chokes him out. So forearms on one jugular, other arms across the back of the neck. Your shoulder pushes his shoulder into the other jugular. Drill that, guys.